What else is happening? So there's been a Mission Impossible announcement, right?
Yeah, they're doing 2 back-to-back Mission Impossible films.
Yes.
Christopher McQuarrie is going to be writing and directing them both, and I guess it's kind of a good thing, so they don't have to wait a few years. So they have Tom Cruise, like, at least physically fresh to do 2 back-to-back films.
I think it's great. I
think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean and speaking of which, what's going on with the Bond? What's the next Bond movie? What's going on there?
Bond 25, that's going to come out next year, and I think from what I read last year, they were bringing back pretty much everybody, like Ray Fiennes, Ben Whishaw, I think Léa Seydoux, who was the Bond girl in the last one.
I know.
Naomi Harris as Moneypenny. I guess they're bringing her back. I'm not sure about Christoph Waltz. They didn't mention him, but I don't know. I read that Cary Fukunaga, who's going to direct the film, he was going to go back a little bit to the sort of style of Casino Royale, or sort of just have it that was sort of kind of, from what I gather, maybe going back to that kind of style of film, and just maybe
sort of grittier, more Paul Greengrassy.
Yeah, a bit grittier, I think. Yeah,
it's like, for me, you either. I feel like they should have ended the Daniel Craig era at Skyfall. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
But Spectre was not well thought through. It wasn't well written. The choice to try and make it all hang together didn't. I mean, we talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's like, so you've got 2 choices. You can either pretend Spectre didn't happen and start again, preferably with a new Bond, or you try and put the toothpaste back in the tube and you try and make a sequel to Spectre that actually works. And I think that's probably what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem like with Daniel Craig's Bond films, they've always had a bit of a stop-start kind of thing, where you started really well with Casino Royale, and then you had the writer's strike, and then they did Quantum of Solace, and it was the bad time to actually do a film like that because, you had no writers available. And then
I call it Quantum of Solace because there's a bit missing.
Yeah, it's like there's a beginning, there's kind of a middle, and then there's an end, a very extended end.
And the end's a bit like,
I told you everything I know about quantum. Yeah, but you didn't tell us.
Yeah, what?
and then they linked it.
And then what? Quantum gets renamed to Spectre. What's going on, fuckers?
Yeah, and then Javier Bardem was apparently a part of Spectre as well, which kind of ruins the whole.
Bullshit! It's like fucking George Lucas all over again.
And then there was that stupid video with Judi Dench where she says like that she knows that this person's going to be there in Mexico City and kill him. And I just thought, when I was watching that in the cinema, I was like, A, why are you back? You're dead. 2, how the hell are you going to know that this person's going to be there in Mexico City, and why are you telling Bond to kill him?
I forgot that bit. That film is very bad. I'm going through all the Bond films with Lily at the moment, and we just watched Moonraker. Moonraker is a real interesting film because there's lots going on that's actually quite good. There are some bits that are really excellent.
Yeah.
And then they don't jump the shark. They don't nuke the fridge. They nuke the Meg inside a fridge that they're jumping over.
Yeah.
When they send Roger Moore into space
with laser pistols
and with Jaws and Jaws' little lady friend.
It's a very weird movie. I'm not gonna lie.
It's completely weird, and it's there are some moments in it though that are genuinely like quite good, like, and quite sort of scary. But it's a real turkey. Anyway, we got For Your Eyes Only's up next. That's one of the better Roger Moore ones. But Spy Who Loved Me. We watched that. Obviously, prior to Moonraker. That's a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really good Bond movie.
Was it Moonraker Bernard Hill's last film as M?
Bernard Lee.
Bernard Lee, sorry.
Yes. And they used the... they were trying to... they were going to do For Your Eyes Only, and then they were like, all these kids are going to watch Star Wars and Close Encounters. Let's cash in on that. And so they have the... They have the do-do-do-do-do for a keypad code at one point, and then they're also, using the lasers and so on. But it looks like shit compared to Star Wars and Close Encounters. Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking. Cubby Broccoli had some real curious ideas.
I mean, it seems like the production team, mainly like Barbara Broccoli, she's still like the producer on the Daniel, like she's produced all the sort of modern day Bond films and the Daniel Craig Bond films as well.
Michael G. Wilson, who's worked on pretty much every Bond film since the mid.
Over Christmas, we did watch, before you arrived, me, Felina, and Mum, we watched GoldenEye, and I hadn't seen that for a really long time, and I actually really like GoldenEye. And I know a lot of people didn't like the music, but I thought the music's actually quite well in it. In
I went to see GoldenEye at the Prince Charles a couple of years ago with my friend Andrew, and he loves it. He's a real GoldenEye fan. I think there's a lot to recommend it. I also think the Brosnan era is also one where you get a good one, you get a bad one, you get a good one, you get a bad one. Like Tomorrow Never Dies isn't very good, but actually I think The World Is Not Enough is pretty good, even though a lot of people think it's rubbish.
It does have its silliness to it.
I think it's mostly because of the Denise Richards thing. I think if you ignore her and if you look into the fact that the main villain is a woman for once, it's Sophie Marceau. That's pretty cool. There's some other weird shit going on, and then Die Another Day is obviously awful. Why are we've gone off on a massive James Bond tangent?
Yeah, it's just like we just said.
This isn't so much movie news anymore as talking about the Bond stuff.